Hello everybody, welcome to another video. Today we are going to be talking about fall weather riding gear and what would be nice to have while you're out on the road as it starts to get a little bit colder. So in case you don't know, I am located in Pennsylvania, kind of in south central Pennsylvania, and we are starting to get into the fall season, not fully into winter. We have that nice little middle area where it's comfortable to wear a flannel or a sweatshirt outside and a pair of jeans. But what does that mean for your riding attire? Normally, I'm wearing some kind of biking shorts, which tend to be like a spandex material, and I'm usually wearing a jersey, which has plenty of airflow for those summer months when you're trying a little bit harder and you don't want to overheat. So, as we're now getting into the fall season, what does that mean for our gear? The three main things that we're going to need to think about with our gear for fall weather riding is it going to keep me warm? Is it going to keep me dry or clean? And is it going to allow me to bike to my best ability? What tends to happen as we put more layers on, we tend to restrict our movement and we're not able to pedal as well. We're not able to get up out of the saddle as well. And we feel a lot more restricted in our movement on the bike. And while that seems a little counterintuitive because you're on a bike, you're kind of trapped in a single place, having the ability to move around on your bike is one of the greatest leverage points, pun kind of intended, that you have over your bike when you're going up a hill, getting out of the saddle, pushing down a little bit harder on the pedals, or when you're going down a hill and you want to tuck into your drops, having the ability to kind of move yourself forward on the saddle really changes the way that you're able to put power down and how you're able to actually control your ride. So we really need to make sure that we have that ability to move around and still have the flexibility and function that we want while on the bike. So first things first, let's start out simple. If we need to get a little bit warmer, there's only one way that we're really able to do that, and that is by adding layers. So a great place to start is with a base layer of some kind. It's kind of hard to see because it's all black, but you have a long sleeve shirt here. This one does have a little bit of a mock neck on it so that it sits up a little bit higher around my throat, so that way I don't have as much wind trying to come down my shirt when I'm tucked over. But I'll put this on underneath my jersey so that way I still have access to all my pockets, all my equipment and stuff. But I have that long sleeve, I have that higher neck that's really helping to block out the air as I'm on this ride and helping to keep me a little bit warmer. For the legs, we're going to stay very similar with just a simple base layer. These are like some spandex I put on over top of my bike shorts. They fit close and tight to my legs so that I still have plenty of flexibility, that I still have the mobility that I want on the bike, while providing that layer to block out some of the air. As the weather kind of changes, I'll occasionally have on another pair of these base layer spandex pants that I'll kind of stack them, and I find that if I have two layers on, I'm going to be warm in pretty much any conditions. I do tend to run a little bit warmer as is, but with two pairs of the spandex on, I have almost no air passing through, and I can be comfortable on a ride for a while. Now that we have the base layers on, the other part of our body that we want to think about is our head and our neck. So as for the neck, something that you can get is a gaiter or buff of some kind. This is one that I use for hiking more often. It's a map of the Appalachian Trail, but this is super nice that you're able to just kind of throw on, and then you have the ability to pull it up over your chin, over your mouth if you need, or you can pull it up over the back of your head to protect the back of your neck a little bit more. But this, in conjunction with a little bit higher neck on the base layer, really prevents any air from getting in around here, which air on the back of your neck as it's starting to get cold only makes your body feel colder, and it can really change the way that you're feeling on this ride. As we move up to the head, most bike helmets tend to be very well ventilated, which in the summer is a wonderful thing because your bike helmet feels light, you have plenty of airflow passing through it, and your head isn't getting all sweaty. But when you start getting into those colder months, unless you have a more solid helmet, having all those air passageways can make the ride feel really cold. And a great way to provide a little bit of a barrier without getting super bulky is to go with a simple cycling cap. So this one, as you can see, is a little bit more mesh. You can kind of see my hand through it. And so this one is nice for a little bit of a warmer ride, maybe during the day, but more traditionally, you'll find them in a solid fabric. And with one of these, they really keep your head warm. This wonderful little visor, while normally you would not have it down, you would have it flipped up, kind of sits right at the front of your helmet there, so you can get whatever branding you would like and mark it that way. But having this on top of your head really traps in a lot of that heat and will keep you warm on a ride, so that way you don't just have that air rushing over the top of your head, making you feel a lot colder. As for your hands, it's always nice to have some kind of gloves. So I have two different options that I normally ride with. I have this set of like fingerless gloves that are okay when it's kind of in this temperature. It's not super cold, it's not really warm. Provides a little bit of protection over the like meat of my hand, but I still have my fingers and the dexterity necessary to move those around. But as it starts to get a little bit colder and the wind chill starts to pick up, it's nice to move to some kind of full-fingered glove. These are just like a simple pair of mechanics gloves that you can pick up at literally like any hardware store or Walmart. They run like $16 for a pair, and they have a little bit of a thicker palm and finger grip on the inside, so they don't wear down very easily, which can be an issue when you're dealing with cork wraps. They can put a lot more strain on fabric gloves, and so having that little bit of a thicker layer on the inside is really nice. And then the outside isn't really a mesh, but it does have a lighter fabric, so it doesn't feel like a whole lot's there, but it still blocks out the air while you're on that ride. So now that we've kind of kept ourselves warm, how can we keep ourselves dry? Well, depending on the layers that you're choosing, my Spandex pants tend to repel water pretty well. And so while I'm out on a ride, I don't have to worry about getting soaked. You want to stay away from obviously like cotton layers that are going to just suck in all of the water that you're running into. Stick with more spandexes and polyesters that are going to kind of shed that water. But on top of that, if I know I'm going to be riding in more inclement weather, I will often wear this lighter rain jacket. And so this one's nice because it has some vents here in the back, so that way this mesh area on the inside, I'm able to let out a little bit of heat because of having pretty much a plastic sheet over top of me while I'm riding. Can get extremely warm, so having some kind of ventilation is very nice. And then this one of my favorite bits about it is actually the way that this bottom is designed. So you can see that there's this elastic band that goes around the base of it. And so it's a little bit longer, and it actually hooks underneath your butt. And so while in tuck, drop down in the bars, having that little bit of extra fabric that kind of scoops over your butt, you're not having the fabric slide up your back and getting you wet or making you cold. It stays tucked where it's supposed to be and doesn't really move around, which was probably one of the nicest features I found in it. And unfortunately, I do not have a link for that. I picked it up on Amazon for like $10 as, yeah, just like a random jacket that I thought would be nice. So it has worked out. So if you're able to find something like that, if I'm able to find something like that, I'll leave it linked in the description below. But yeah, that jacket has been one of the nicest things that I have gotten to ride with, and especially in inclement weather. The other area that's going to be running into a lot more of this inclement weather is your feet, because they're down low. As your front tires move around, it's going to be spraying water up onto the bike and onto your legs. So having The shoes that I have, there is a bunch of mesh in them and they are designed for airflow. So to make up for that and to prevent any water from getting in, you can pick up a nice set of these like shoe gaiter shoe covers, and it is important to pick up ones that are cycling specific, especially if you're running clipless shoes, because there is a cutout in the bottom that allows you to actually put your clip through. So let me throw my shoes into here so that way you can see what that looks like. Okay, so as you can see, my clips are through here. The cover kind of sits around it, and then there is a cutout in the heel here that provides a little spot for the rubber of the heel to stick through. So then these just go up around your ankles. There's a little zipper in the back. That's how you get them on. And so once you put your shoes on, then you slide these on over top of everything, zip them up, and you are sealed. I have ridden through some downpours with these on, and my socks are still dry after riding. These shoe covers are lifesavers. Especially if you're someone who likes to wear white shoes while riding, having a set of shoe covers will protect those, and they will keep looking new for your sunny summer rides. But for me, it's mostly a comfort thing. And yeah, I do not want wet socks, so shoe covers are probably one of the best things that I have invested in. So I think that's all for today. Obviously, there's a bunch of rain gear that you're able to get for your bike as well. You can get mud guards, you can get some butt savers that are just like little pieces of plastic that actually stick into your seat. And so they kind of sit in right here. And then they just stick out the back, so that way you don't have any splash from your rear tire coming up and spraying up your back while you're on a ride. But like I said, you're able to also get like full-on mud guards for your bike that will completely prevent any kind of debris from coming up over your wheels. As well as there's some more ridiculous things like guards for your handles, so that way it kind of looks like you're on a motocross bike with these giant plastic shields that prevent any kind of water coming through. You can get full-on like windscreens for bikes that mount onto your handlebars and then have a giant screen that goes up in front of your face to prevent any kind of water from coming through. But as for me and my fall weather riding, that is about the extent that I go to. Occasionally I'll throw on an extra layer or a shirt of some kind underneath my jersey, underneath my base layer, just to kind of pack more in. Once again, staying with a very light, moisture wicking kind of shirt that is not going to be pulling up with sweat or pulling up from any water that's getting on me while I'm on my ride. So thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, make sure to give it a thumbs up. YouTube is super into thumbs ups right now, and that is like their entire algorithm for some reason. Make sure to leave a comment below asking any questions that you have about my gear, and make sure to tell me what your favorite kind of fall ride is. Do you prefer the kind of like muddy gravel off-road riding, or do you prefer like the nice cool fall mornings road rides with the autumn leaves around you? Make sure to subscribe and hit the little notification bell beside it. When you hit that, you get notified every time a new video comes out, and it really lets you stay on top of what we're doing on the channel. Coming up in the next few weeks, we should be getting out for some fall foliage rides because the leaves are starting to change around here, and so that should just be some beautiful imagery. But for now, thank you so much for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one.